KPMG is supporting alternative pathways to CPA licensure. In other words, they are supporting an end to the tyranny of the 150-hour rule. And this came directly from the CEO. This is important. KPMG is supporting the idea of automatic mobility for CPAs licensed in one state to practice in others. This is big. And this is the solution to the whole substantial equivalency problem, is allow automatic mobility. We just assume as a state that a CPA license in another state has the appropriate qualifications. By default, if you have a CPA license from one of the other states, we're going to take it. And then you only deal with issues as they come up. So if a state dramatically changes requirements, which seems very unlikely, where it becomes just way too different than your own state, and it's not allowing for, adequate education or whatever, then you deal with it. And then you can say, look, Minnesota, until you change this, we're not going to accept your CPAs. But make it by default, you allow them in, you allow mobility, and then you only deal with it if it's a problem, just like driver's licenses.
You'd think with the size of the Big Four, the number of employees they have, and they span all 50 states, that they would not have been fighting for this for decades, because they would be actually served very well by this.
Here's the quote.
Employees like full mobility.
That's right. Here's the quote from CEO Paul Knopp. While we can recruit the talent we need today, we have a brewing crisis that will impact accounting firms and corporations. We need to absolutely address it in the very near term. The cost of becoming a CPA has become too high, including both the cost of the extra education and the opportunity cost of spending an extra year in school. We can accelerate the development of talent by having people working with us earlier, especially as data and technology fundamentally change the nature of the profession. Hands-on experience with data and technology at the cutting edge is incredibly valuable. So that's great news. I think this is it. And a KPMG spokesperson said, KPMG supports alternative pathways to CPA licensure that emphasize experience after one earns a bachelor's degree. We believe reforms can increase access to becoming a CPA and improve the quality of the profession at the same time because of the nature of technological change. More direct hands-on experience with coaching by practitioners enables a far more prepared candidate for the CPA.
One thing there's an article on CFO Dive that I caught about this. They stopped short of specifically supporting the AI CPA plan. So I think maybe they're taking a wait and see approach.
Right.
But that was really interesting. When I saw the headline, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, in my brain, I was like, oh, they probably are all over the ICPA's plan, and this is the start of the propaganda machine. But the fact that they didn't specifically say they're supporting that plan just shows how open they are to a solution. Right?
The firm is doing this because they're going to have trouble recruiting in the future. They pointed out that bachelor's degree completions in accounting dropped 7.8% from 2021 to 2022, and it was a steady decline of 1 to 3% per year since 2015 to 16. And the time and cost of the 150-hour requirement for CPA licensure is among the top reasons that students do not select accounting as a major. Now, I would hope that KPMG would go one step further, which is addressing the hours that their young associates are working after they graduate and they go to work for KPMG. We also know that that is the top reason that accountants leave once they are in the profession, is they get into the workplace at the Big Four. They find the culture to be toxic. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. There's no hemming and hawing about it. It's a toxic work culture with required overtime that is in excess of what should be acceptable in an office. And they're quitting, and they are not going into industry, unfortunately. They're just leaving accounting entirely. And the big public accounting firms bear the responsibility for that. So it's imperative that the associations and the state boards of accountancy streamline initial licensure and reduce the time and cost of that. But it's also imperative that the Big Four and the other large accounting firms get together and figure out how to let people have more work-life balance and increase starting salaries, because those are simply not competitive.